Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're an operations leader navigating the wild world of enterprise AI right now, you've probably noticed a pretty stark contrast. There's a massive gap between the hype of a flashy vendor pitch and, well, the cold, hard reality of a board meeting, right? So today, we're going to bridge that gap. We're equipping you with a pragmatic, absolutely BS-free measurement framework for AI agent pilots. We designed this specifically for you, the Llama research audience, because we know you're the leaders who actually need to build a defensible business case, one that can withstand intense scrutiny from your CFO and the board. So no hype today, just a rock-solid operational rollout. Okay, let's jump right into this structured roadmap. We'll start by looking at exactly why AI ROI stories fail, and then we'll walk chronologically through week 0, D30, D60, and finally the crucial day 90 decision gate. Section 1. Why AI ROI stories fail. You know, we constantly see these AI pilots launch with just incredible energy. There are all these vague promises floating around of 10x productivity, and then they just get shelved 60 days later. But why? Well, here is the harsh truth. Most of these pilots die not because they failed technically, but because nobody actually agreed on what success looked like before they launched. It's like building a house with no blueprint. The CFO ends up shutting it down simply because no one built the scaffolding to prove the thing actually worked. Let's break down the 3 most common pitfalls that will completely unravel your ROI claims during a tough board meeting. First up, we've got the demo problem. Listen, a working prototype that successfully routes an approval is just a proof of concept. It is not proof of impact. Second is what we call the denominator problem. If you walk into a room and claim an agent saves 4 hours a week, the immediate inevitable question is going to be, compared to what? If you didn't rigorously measure your baseline process beforehand, you're just guessing. And trust me, boards can smell a guess from a mile away. Finally, there's the vanity metric problem. Boasting that your new agent handled 1,200 requests sounds amazing, right? Well, until someone asks how many of those requests actually needed handling in the first place. Or worse, if downstream workers just had to redo all that work anyway. We have to have honest accounting here.
Section 2, Week 0, the baseline.
Building a defensible business case actually begins before you even turn the AI on. Welcome to week 0. Before your agent touches a single task, you absolutely must establish your starting point. I really cannot emphasize this enough. Cutting corners right here, at the very beginning, it's going to cost you everything when you have to defend the project later. This is your foundation. You literally can't build without it. So what exactly should you be measuring? Well, you need hard operational metrics. First, you need to know your cycle time, from the initial trigger all the way to completion. Then you need the touch count. Literally, how many people handle the task and how many handoffs are occurring. You absolutely need to lock down the current error or rework rate, the total volume per week or month, and critically, the fully loaded cost per unit. And yes, that includes labor, tooling, and wait time. Now, don't panic, this doesn't take 6 months to figure out. A focused 1 to 2 week sprint with your process owner is going to give you a highly defensible baseline. Get this denominator documented and, this is key, get sign-off from your steering committee before you take another step forward. Section 3, Day 30, Reliability and Adoption. Okay, now we enter the first formal evaluation gate. And let's be clear, at this stage, you are not looking for massive ROI. I know people always expect immediate magic savings, but what you actually need right now is proof of reliability and adoption. Signs of life, essentially. The biggest risk at day 30 isn't that the agent is a little slow or maybe slightly inaccurate. No, the biggest risk is that your people just aren't using it. Honestly, adoption failure is a way bigger threat to your pilot right now than technical failure. Let's walk through the key indicators of a genuinely healthy pilot. First, you want to see reliable agent uptime, meaning it's running without constant manual restarts. Then, you want to track that task completion rate. Ideally, we're looking for a 70 to 85% autonomous completion rate, where a human doesn't have to swoop in and rescue the task. Next up, are users actually triggering it? That's your adoption rate. You also really need to watch the escalation rate. When the agent punts a task back to a human, is that rate stable or is it climbing? We definitely want stable or declining. And finally, keep an eye out for trust signals. Are your users just blindly rubber stamping the AI's work? Are they ignoring it entirely? Or are they actually thoughtfully engaging with it? Which brings us to a really fascinating, kind of contrarian question. One that totally challenges the standard executive assumption about early AI success. Think about it. If you see a 100% automation rate at day 30, is that a win? Honestly, you'd probably think so, right? Well, the answer is absolutely no. In fact, a 100% automation rate is a massive red flag. It usually just means nobody is bothering to check the agent's work. For our Llama research audience, especially those of you operating in highly regulated environments like financial services, government, or healthcare, complete automation this early on is basically just an audit finding waiting to happen. You absolutely have to have human oversight in the loop at this stage. No exceptions. Section 4, Day 60, Real Business Impact.
Okay, 2 months in. This is where we transition from simply observing adoption to proving actual, undeniable workflow automation ROI. This is where your business case starts to take real shape. The absolutely crucial point here is comparing your Day 60 production numbers directly against that Week 0 baseline we talked about earlier. That is how you reveal true business impact. I mean, if you can show your cycle time dropping from 48 hours down to 24 hours, or your fully loaded cost per unit dropping from $50 to $35, wow, you suddenly have a highly powerful data-backed narrative to share. Oh, and you also want to look at exception quality here. When the agent does escalate a task, is it providing useful context, or are your human workers having to start completely from scratch?
But right here, I need to issue a pretty stern warning to all the operations leaders out there about the most dangerous metric of all. We call it the hours returned trap. Look, claiming we saved 120 hours last month means absolutely nothing to a board if those saved human hours just evaporate into unstructured downtime, right? If you cannot clearly show that those recovered hours were redeployed, maybe to higher value work, or to reducing a massive backlog, or handling previously unserved volume, then you just have an efficiency gain on paper. You have zero real ROI in practice, and trust me, the board is going to see right through it in a second.
Section 5, Day 90, the decision gate.
Finally, we reach the critical 3-month mark. This is where leaders have to make an evidence-based call to either expand, contain, or just completely shut down the pilot. Let's do a quick review of this structured journey we've been on. As you can see, this framework proves that success was measured at distinct staged gates, rather than just one single arbitrary pass-fail moment at the very end. You established your baseline at Week 0. You verified reliability at Day 30. You measured real business impact at Day 60. And now you are ready for a highly disciplined go, no-go decision. So to actually make that decision, you need to evaluate 5 specific Day 90 criteria. Honestly, think of this as the necessary armor you're going to wear when the CFO starts asking all those tough expansion questions. First, you need to prove sustained performance. Are those Day 60 gains actually holding, or was it just a fading novelty effect? Second, governance and auditability. Can you produce a crystal clear log of every single decision the agent made? Third, you absolutely must prove operational resilience for when the agent inevitably hits edge cases. Fourth, you have to understand the scaling economics. Like, if volume doubles tomorrow, do your costs scale linearly, or are you going to hit some massive licensing cliff? And finally, organizational readiness. Does your human team actually trust this agent enough to expand its scope? To bring this all together for the boardroom, you're going to present this very practical, simplified red, yellow, green scorecard. This right here is the exact boardroom artifact you need to turn a pilot into a fully funded program. You literally just print this out, fill it in with your process owner, and slide it across the table. Look, I know it's not glamorous, but it systematically tracks your baseline data against very clear ratings at Day 30, 60, and 90. It shows discipline, it shows control, and most importantly, it shows undeniable proof of value. So, I want to leave you with one final kind of provocative thought today. Take a hard look at your current AI initiatives. Are they actually building a defensible business case grounded in rigorous baseline metrics? Or are they just burning budget as a zombie pilot? Strict, relentless measurement is literally the only way to separate the hype from the reality and ultimately secure the future of your enterprise AI strategy. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today, and I highly, highly encourage you to take this 30, 60, 90-day framework and start applying it to your own workflows right away.